Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bet the Birds with Eliot, Shorr-Parks. I'm Maniac, Malloy. Eliot, we're on a losing streak right here.
We are. It's okay. The Eagles are on a winning streak. Well, a winning game at least. And it certainly doesn't feel like it. Fans still not happy. It feels like with that win. Feels like the players aren't even happy with that win. Bit of a despondent locker room after that win. A.J. Brown won't talk. Devontae's not happy with the offense. So
it's just a general male
yeah.
content. Just nobody is content right now.
Yes,
I can't really understand it. Can you explain it?
Hopefully this week I get the spread right. The Eagles get a win that makes them happy, and we can kick 2024 off on a winning streak.
No, but really though, this general, not being content with even winning right now. Can you explain it? Is it because of the Super Bowl?
Yeah, sometimes it feels like I believe in this team almost more than they believe in themselves. Like, I still think this is a great Eagles team. I think they have a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl. But being in the locker room, look, there are 63 players in the locker room. I think sometimes when you see 4 or 5 players upset, it gives this perception that everybody is. I've been in the locker room twice this week. They're laughing. They're having fun. Like, they know it's a serious task at hand, but they're not walking around with their heads down. But yes, there is certainly some frustration. I think part of that is coming off of the Super Bowl. And this is the tough thing of coming off of losing in the Super Bowl is it creates a ton of pressure the following year where people expect you to play at a high level. I think if you asked almost any Eagles fan, they would say the offense isn't as good as it was last year. Well, the stats don't really back that up. Like, they've faced way tougher defenses this year, and they're putting up very similar numbers to what they put up last year. So I think if the Eagles players, and I think you've heard Sirianni has tried to say that this week with pointing out that they're going to have 2,000-yard receivers. DeAndre Swift's probably going to go over 1,000 yards. Jalen Hurts is probably going to go over 4,000 yards. He's probably going to set like the NFL record for rushing touchdowns in a season. I think that if the Eagles took a step back, and the fans and some media as well, and realize this has been a very successful season, I think they would start to play better, because last year when mistakes were made, I think there was a feeling of, it's all right, we're going to just blow right by this and we're going to correct the mistake. Now it feels like in games where things go poorly, everybody, the players, the fans are just like, here we go. And so I think that getting in a better mood and getting in just like some more belief maybe in themselves would really help this team out on the field.
Well, like, they just don't look like they're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, am I right by that?
I agree. And I think Sirianni agrees with you. And I think it's been something all year. I'll always remember when Sirianni was first introduced as head coach, the Eagles website did this video with him, and he pointed out a play from when he was with the Colts on when it was either a first down or a touchdown or something like that. And all the players ran to celebrate with the guy. And he was like, look, like, this is what I want. I want my players to feel connected. I want them to have fun with each other. How many memorable celebrations can you think about with the Eagles this year?
That's what I'm saying.
There's the Devontae, AJ, like LeBron D Wade thing. And I'm not saying they're not ever having fun. Like, they're not like the most depressing locker room ever. But I think Sirianni agrees with everybody. I think they need to have some more fun. But the good news is, against this Cardinals defense, there should be some chances to have some fun.
All right. So you know what I'm going to ask you, Eliot? It's week 17. Jonathan Gannon coming to town.
Here we go.
Right when we need him. The spread is 11.5. Eliot, how are you going to bet the Birds this weekend?
I simply cannot bet the Birds again to cover the spread. I've done it too many weeks in a row. Here's my concern. Now, let me be straight. The Eagles are going to win the game. I believe they're going to win the game. I would be stunned if they lost. But here's some concerns I have with this game. One, I think Kyler Murray is a way better quarterback than anyone they face on the Giants, obviously. And Kyler is someone that can create something out of nothing. If the Eagles do keep this close, which they have almost all season, Kyler is somebody that on a key third down play late in the game or a key drive, he escapes pressure, he runs. Like, I'm a little worried about Kyler doing some things that'll keep this close. The other concern I have is the Cardinals do have speed at receiver. The Eagles, we know, at corner have struggled to stick with speed guys, especially James Bradbury. Keely Ringo has decent speed, but a rookie still. So, I think that could still be an issue for him down the sideline. The Cardinals receivers aren't great, but they are small and they are fast. So I think that could be an issue for the Eagles. And then look, like, Gannon knows the Eagles offense and he knows Hurts. He doesn't have talent on the defense to make that happen. And as we all know, Gannon doesn't shut down great quarterbacks. So we'll see if Jalen can get it going. But I think the Eagles win the game. I just don't think by the 11. I'd be a little worried to put that full amount in. So I would go 27-20 Eagles.
All right. Now the question. Who's got the advantage? Nick Sirianni or Jonathan Gannon facing his team?
Well, I think Sirianni has a coaching advantage over Gannon. I think Sirianni's a better coach than Gannon is. I think Gannon's a great defensive coordinator. I don't think he's a great head coach. And I think Sirianni and Brian Johnson have done a way better job this year than people are giving them credit for. But a big part of this, and it's with coaching in general, is the Eagles have way better players. Like if you look at this Cardinals defense, they have a not great pass rush. They have not great corners. They have two really good safeties, but ultimately that's not really resulted in anything for this defense. They're near the bottom or at the bottom of the league in almost every single important defensive category. Their linebackers aren't great. The Eagles have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, Dallas Goedert. They just have so much more talent than this Cardinals defense. So I think the coaching advantage does go to Sirianni. One thing the Eagles have struggled with this year is blitzing. As we all know, Gannon does not blitz. We saw it last year. He's not doing it this year with the Cardinals. It would be out of character for him to be a blitz-heavy defense this week. So if he's going to play the type of defense he likes to play and he's going to sit back and stop the Eagles from making big plays, Jalen showed last week against the Giants he is more willing than he used to be to do those short intermediate passes. So I think the coaching advantage does go to Sirianni versus Gannon.
All right, so you're advising us to maybe not take the Birds this weekend. What bet are you taking from a props a prop standpoint?
So I'm gonna go with three things here that I really like. One, A.J. Brown. Like this has to be the week. He's been, upset all week. He's not happy about where the offense is. The Cardinals have really bad corners. And I think that they're going to try to get A.J. right heading into this game. So I would go the over on A.J. receiving yards, and I would take a A.J. anytime touchdown. I'm also going to go with the DeAndre Swift touchdown. I know he keeps going down at the 1 yard line, but the Cardinals are bad against the run, and I think he'll be able to get into the end zone. I thought he was the best player on the field last week against the Giants. It seems like he's heating up at the right time. So I'm going to go with DeAndre Swift anytime touchdown. And then I am also going to go Trey McBride over on receiving yards. I think he's been obviously a good player for them this year. The Eagles struggle with tight ends. I think Zach Cunningham is going to be back, but he's missed a few games and is dealing with an injury. So I'm going to go over Trey McBride receiving yards, anytime DeAndre Swift touchdown. And then with AJ, I'm taking them both, maybe even throw the over on total catches because I think he's going to get a lot of targets. So over catches, over yards, and anytime touchdown. I think AJ will be talking to the media after this game.
Excellent, excellent. Well, with your score prediction, you also seem to maybe like the under.
Yeah, I think the under on this one. Look, the Eagles turned it over too much. And I think the Cardinals offense, they'll be good for 4 or 5 big plays, but they're not going to move the ball up and down the field consistently. They have some of the worst offensive numbers in the league. And I think the Eagles defense will mostly hold them in check. So I think the Cardinals will be around 20 points. And I know the Eagles just got into 33 last week, but man, I just don't know if I trust them to do it 2 weeks in a row. They've been too inconsistent. I think it'd be great for them. I think it would be good for their morale, but ultimately I'm going to pick them to be under 30 points. Gannon does know the Eagles offense. Maybe there'll be some tricks he has up his sleeve. So I'll go with the under. I'm going to stick with the 27-20 prediction.
This Cardinals team, they seem to be able to hang in games in the first half and the first quarter.
They're 2-4 with Kyler. I mean, since they've come back, they've been slightly better with Kyler. Obviously, 2-4 is nothing to write home about, but they have been better since Kyler's gotten back. They're averaging around 4 more points per game with him at quarterback. So it is a tougher team for sure. And I think Gannon's going to have them motivated. They seem to play hard for Gannon. I think they know, obviously, him coming into the back to Philly, they're going to want to get him a win. They just have so little talent, and the Eagles are so much more talented that I don't think they'll be able to do it.
All right, now my next question for you. Cowboys, Lions.
Yes.
All right. Can you explain to us who we should be rooting for?
This is an easy one.
In the Cowboys-Lions game.
This is an easy one. You get the chance to root for the Cowboys. This is Eagles fans' chance to put on the star, put on the hat, and root for the Cowboys. Ultimately, you want the Cowboys to win this game because you need the Lions to lose so that Eagles can finish with that 2 seed. I know people say they don't like to root for the Cowboys, but when the Eagles have to go to Detroit in the second round, you're going to be wishing that you would have just allowed yourself for 4 hours to hope the Cowboys are going to win. The Eagles getting this 2 seed is really important. The Lions win out and the Eagles win out. I believe the Lions do get that 2 seed. There's a tiebreakers that it goes to. So you have to hope they lose this week. The Cowboys win. And then if the Eagles take care of business, they'll be the 2 seed. So the Cowboys, great team at home. I think they are going to beat the Lions. The Lions are playing better for sure. Just had a huge emotional victory where they clinched the division for the first time, and probably since before me and you were even born. So I think coming into this Dallas game, they'll be set up for a letdown game. And I think Dallas, coming off that loss, is going to play well. So root for the Cowboys and root for the Eagles to get that 2 seed.
What are the likelihood that the Eagles can somehow pull off this 1 seed? That's my last question.
It's not that crazy. It really isn't. If you look, the Niners this year, they lost 3 in a row. When Purdy gets in a slump, he doesn't play well. Obviously did not play well against the Ravens. I'm a little intrigued by Jacoby Brissett coming in and playing. Maybe they get some first-time starter buzz there. But then really what it comes down to is the Rams are going to have a ton to play for that final week of the season. I know the Niners will too with that 1 seed, but the Rams have more to play for because they can be playing for a postseason spot. Sean McVay has been really good against the 49ers in his career. So it's not a small percentage. I think it's probably 30%. The Eagles still end up with the 1 seed. But man, it does really make you think back to that interception against the Jets that Jalen threw, the 92-yard drive by Drew Lock. Like, for all the struggles Eagles have had, they were this close to heading into the final week or final 2 weeks with a stranglehold on that 1 seed. And I think they could still get it. But man, they were close, and those plays really ended up impacting them.
Ever since that interception, the season just has never been the same against the Jets. And now that Seahawks loss, that's what's affecting this, Lions and having to root for the Cowboys, because that's the common opponent that they will have the tiebreaker over.
And look, they need the 2 seed. They do. I think they could go to Detroit and win. I don't think it would be an impossible game, but you'd much rather have that game here, have Jared Goff and them on the road in the playoffs. So look, worst case scenario is a 2 seed. You avoid the Cowboys or the Niners until the conference, championship. That's not the worst outcome, but yeah, the 2 seed, 2 seed's good for them. They need Dallas to win.
All right, I got about a minute. If you could choose one team for the Eagles to play in that first round, what team do you want to see come into Lincoln Financial Field?
I'm not afraid of the Rams the way other people are. I think Matthew Stafford traveling across country. They already beat the Rams this year, handled them pretty convincingly. I know the Rams are playing better now than they were, but I'll take a 36-year-old quarterback on the road in the cold in the playoffs. They do have postseason experience, but I just don't think the Rams will travel well and play well outside. Tampa Bay, I would take them too, although ultimately Todd Bowles' success that he's had somewhat against Jalen in his career, but they beat them earlier this year too. The real truth is, man, I don't have fear about any of these teams. I think any of them could come in, and I think the Eagles would be, maybe they wouldn't be like huge favorites, maybe 5.5, 6 points, but I think they would easily beat all of these teams. So I don't think the Rams are the scary team everyone thinks they are. I'm not super afraid of the Bucs. Like, I don't see a really tough opponent for the Eagles in that first game if they play their game. If they play their B- game, they'll beat all those teams.
I love it. All right, Eliot, another week of Bet the Birds in the books. Yes. Happy New Year, and I'll see you down at the link on Sunday.
Sounds good, man. Sounds good. And Happy New Year to everybody. And hopefully it gets started off with a win.
Let's do it. All right. I'll talk to you next week, Eliot.
All right. Good stuff, man.